Today, we are joined by someone who truly embodies the Warhawk way. Peter Glerum sat in these same seats in 1990, earning his BBA in Management Computer Systems. Since then, he has navigated a stellar career in finance, recently serving as Chief Investment Strategist and Partner Emeritus at Castle Lake. But Pete's journey wasn't just about spreadsheets. It was about grit. While his parents moved to the West Coast during his freshman year, Pete stayed here, building a family as a resident assistant and learning leadership while working as a janitorial assistant. He discovered that whether you're scrubbing floors or managing multi-billion-dollar investments, success is built on how you connect with people. Pete has spent over 15 years giving back to our university as a foundation board director, advisor, and mentor. And he's here today not just as a global finance leader, but as a fellow alum who knows exactly what it takes to turn a Whitewater degree into a life of purpose. Please join me in welcoming Pete Glerum.
Good morning. My name is Pete Glerum, and I am a proud graduate of the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater class of 1990. I'm thrilled to be speaking to the graduating class of both the College of Business and Economics and the College of Arts and Communications. I'd like to add a special call out to the graduate studies students as well. Additionally, I'd like to thank the faculty, staff, friends, and families for coming out today. While I graduated from Kobe and have had a fulfilling career in finance, I have deep ties to both the arts and comms as well. My parents were both in the theater, and my love and support of the arts has just continued to expand as I age. On the comms side of things, during my 36-year career, I actually made my living explaining and translating very technical finance to various audiences across the globe. You could say I'm a professional storyteller. I'm going to let you in on a little secret. I've never actually experienced a graduation speech for either of my 2 degrees. In my day at Whitewater, graduation was one outdoor ceremony. However, in 1990, rain was predicted, so graduation was split into 2, with the business school moving to the afternoon. The chancellor welcomed us, and then he told us that the morning speech was fantastic, but the speaker had a prior commitment. Thus, no speech. Subsequently, when I finished my MBA, I opted not to walk graduation, as it was in December and it conflicted with a holiday party. Thus, no speech. Now, fast forward to May of 2025, and I attended 6 graduation speeches at 2 different schools. Both of my daughters, who are here today along with my wife, graduated within a week of each other. One from undergrad and one from graduate school. And as I listened to those 6 speeches, I took mental notes. Things I liked, things I didn't like, what worked, thinking at some point those observations may come in handy. So here are the 2 most important takeaways for a speech. 1, you need a punchy hook. And 2, you need to offer some sage advice. So I'm going to start with the punchy hook and save that sage advice towards the end. So here it goes. Here's the hook. You ready? Your Whitewater credentials will open doors. Your character will define your journey. Now, I'm going to start with a little context regarding credentials and character. As you commence this next phase, take a moment and consider your amazing credentials. Your credentials are effectively your resume, where you went to school, your vocational experience, your overall qualifications. Character, on the other hand, is a bit more complicated. Character is defined by a series of inputs and actions. Who are you as a person? What drives you every day? How do you connect? It effectively comes down to who is behind the curtain. In my paradigm, credentials, they open the door. But character propels you into the heart of the conversation. During my career, I traveled the world and met with a lot of people with amazing credentials, and at times it could be intimidating. However, in contrast to that, it became more and more obvious that my character was much deeper, much more complex than many of those around me. And I have a theory on this. Whitewater, it's a small town. And to state the obvious, this place is not a sparkling city full of bright lights and endless adventure. So as a result, you, the students, you fill in those gaps. You spend time talking, relating, interacting, connecting, developing your character. Believe it or not, your non-classroom education and connecting with those around you, that's priceless. This place, this campus, it's full of real students, real faculty, real staff, real people. It is truly Warhawk bold. During my time at Whitewater, I worked my way through school with 2 jobs. I was a residence hall custodian and an RA. And I truly believe my character was cultivated by both of those experiences. My custodial job, it entailed cleaning Weller's Hall 3 times a week, all 4 years I was here. During my first year, to be completely honest, there were days when I walked into Weller's and I just wanted to turn around and leave. Mess in the bathrooms, trash in the hallways. It could be pretty overwhelming for $3.50 an hour back then. Without recognizing it at the time, though, I began to forge relationships with the students in Weller's. I'd offer to vacuum a student's room while cleaning the hallways. I'd strike up conversations. And as a result, that mess, it began to slowly subside. I had effectively humanized the cleaning staff. The residents, they learned that slashing that beanbag chair on a Saturday night and filling the hall with millions of styrofoam beads, it did not magically get cleaned up by the night elves. Pete and Gary were on point to clean that mess. And over the 4 years of cleaning Weller's, my character was strengthened in doing real physical labor and connecting with those around me. And I would not trade that experience for anything. Now I'm going to share a career anecdote as to where my Whitewater character stood out. It was during my first visit to mainland China in the early 2000s. I was attending an investment conference in Shanghai, and it was quite a prestigious event. And as such, they truly rolled out the red carpet. We stayed in a 5-star hotel. We had great food, exotic adventure. And one of the days, we were divided up into small groups and sent on various field trips into the city of Shanghai. My group was sent to visit an immigrant school. Now, I need a little backstory here. In the go-go days of China's growth, they were desperate for labor to build the infrastructure in the city centers. And so many rural Chinese citizens traveled to the cities with their families to augment that labor force. However, there was a quirky law that said your children can only attend school in the province of your legal residency. So as a result, many of the rural immigrants could not legally send their children to school in the cities they were working. The solution to this was the advent of what I would say very under-resourced private immigrant schools that were staffed by a completely volunteer staff of retired teachers. Our field trip was to visit one of these schools. The school was in an incredibly impoverished part of Shanghai. As we got close, the driver informed our guide he couldn't get any closer to the school due to a very narrow road. Well, we walked a half mile on that narrow road, which was basically a path through a garbage dump. It was a hot July day. We were surrounded by sewage, rotting garbage. And as we walked, there was an obnoxious amount of complaining from my well-credentialed peers. Honestly, I was so overwhelmed from just being in China, I was a bit oblivious to what we were doing. We started our visit at the school observing the synchronized morning exercises in the yard. From there, we spent time in various classrooms, working through an interpreter, attempting to converse with the students. It was a bit awkward, but it was also really interesting, fascinating. At the end of the visit, we were ushered into the teacher's lounge, and we were greeted with a cornucopia of, shall I say, interesting smells. The teachers had prepared us a potluck lunch. Now, in my experience, a potluck can be a pretty scary endeavor in Wisconsin, much less China. Much to my chagrin, everyone in our group, everyone sans me, refused to eat. I actually recognized in the moment that we were bridging cultures, and I stepped up and I loaded my platter. It was not my favorite meal, but I cleaned my plate. And upon leaving, I was the only one recognized, hugged, acknowledged by those teachers. We had made a real connection. During the drive back to the hotel, I was chastised by several of my well-heeled peers telling me I was crazy and I was going to get sick. And honestly, my response was really simple. I said, I was not raised to be rude. I did not want to leave a negative impression, and I knew that we needed to meet that volunteer staff where they stood. And for the record, I did not get sick. So as we exited the bus, the local guide, she stopped me. She welled up in tears. She thanked me for my act of kindness. She handed me a stack of the most beautiful student-drawn art as a gift from the teaching staff to their one American friend. And I tell you this story, it's an extreme example of where my character stood out that was shaped positively here at Whitewater. Meet people where they are. Be respectful. Now I'm going to pivot to the sage advice. Your career, regardless of what your career is a journey. Ahead of you is a winding path, and you're just setting out on it. You're commencing the adventure. So as you look ahead, focus on that first obstacle in the trail, not where you hope the trail ultimately leads. There will be plenty of intersections, blind turns, detours, rough terrain. Don't spend your time trying to figure that all out today. It's futile. I'll say that again. It's futile. With the benefit of 36 years of hindsight, what may feel overwhelming today will become more clear over time. Time is the great elixir. The human brain, it's designed to diminish the bad and hold on to the good. Trust me on this. Time is the great elixir. So as you commence this next phase, don't lose sight of where you came from. You all have superpowers developed right here on campus. And your character, it will continue to shine through and get stronger with each passing day. Again, trust me on this. You should all be immensely proud of your collective accomplishments. Remember, Warhawk Bold, it's a real thing. Be curious. Be sincere. Be you. Be Warhawk Bold. So as I close, I'm going to end with one of my favorite quotes from the playwright Thomas Stoppard. He once quipped, "Every exit is an entrance someplace else." I'm going to say that again. Every exit is an entrance someplace else. With that, I'd just like to say thank you and Warhawk Bold.